In today's video, we will unravel some conspiracy theories surrounding the Vatican Secret Archives, which hold approximately 85 kilometers of secret files, documents, objects, books, and manuscripts. The Forbidden Labyrinth. What's really inside? Imagine a place where every book, every document, every word has been handpicked, not to be read, but to be hidden. Welcome to the Vatican's biggest secret. The 85 kilometers of archives that could rewrite everything you know about the history of humanity. The documents that challenge history. Here, within these sacred walls, lie texts that defy logic. Apocryphal Gospels, like the Book of Enoch, which speaks of fallen angels and giants who walked the earth. Ancient maps, like the Piri Reis map, which shows continents that would only be discovered centuries later. And the most disturbing, records of advanced civilizations that disappeared without a trace, or were they erased? The seals of censorship. But not everything here is available to curious eyes. Some sections are guarded by steel doors, locked with mechanisms that defy modern technology. Documents marked with red seals. For the Pope's eyes only or forbidden under pain of excommunication. What is so dangerous about a simple piece of paper? The witnesses who disappeared. In 1983, a book restorer named Alfredo Bellini claimed to have found a text that described a forbidden science capable of manipulating reality. 2 weeks later, he was found dead in his room with torn pages from the library in his hands. Coincidence? Or a warning to those who dare to meddle where they shouldn't? The extraterrestrial connection. What if I told you that in 1600, an astronomer named Giulio Cesare Vanini was burned alive by the Inquisition not for heresy, but for translating a text that described beings from the stars who visited the Vatican centuries before? His last words were, "They are here, and the Church knows." But that's just the tip of the iceberg, because if these documents are so dangerous, what else is hidden in the deepest sections of the library? The ones that even cardinals are not allowed to visit? The documents that could topple religions. There is an unwritten rule in the Vatican. Some secrets must die with those who read them. And what you are about to discover is exactly the kind of truth that made popes tremble in their rooms at night. The Forbidden Gospel of Judas. In 2006, a 1,700-year-old manuscript shocked the world. The Gospel of Judas. In it, Jesus tells Judas, "You will be the most cursed and the most blessed." Why? Because according to this text, the betrayal was a sacred act, a necessary sacrifice. But the Vatican's version? Judas is the great villain. The burning question. How many other pious lies were planted in the Bible? The Bible that never saw the light. In 1945, in Egypt, the Nag Hammadi texts were found, which comprise 52 Gnostic writings that the Church declared heresy. One of them, the Apocryphon of John, describes God not as a being of love, but as a blind architect who created the world by accident. Another says that Adam and Eve were deceived by a serpent who wanted to free them. And these are just the texts that escaped the fire. The secret of the heretical popes. In 1958, Pope Pius XII died under strange circumstances. Days before, he had asked to see a document called the Pactum Secretum, a supposed agreement between the Church and something that should not exist. What did he read? No one knows. But his face was described as disfigured by horror when they found him dead. Coincidence that his successor ordered the burning of 3,000 documents in the same year? The relic that should not exist. In a section called the Room of Fragments, there is an artifact that defies logic. A piece of metal with inscriptions in an unknown language. Modern tests dated the object as being 12,000 years old. But the real mystery? It was catalogued in 1589 as a fragment of the Ark of the Covenant, except that the Ark was supposed to be made of wood covered in gold, not a material that no scientist can identify. All of this raises a disturbing question. If the Church hid even the nature of God, What else is kept in Room X, where only popes can enter? And what did they see there that made them come back different? Room X, where popes go, but no one knows why. There is a place within the Vatican Secret Archives that does not appear on any map. A place so restricted that even the most powerful cardinals are not allowed to enter. Only one man in the entire world can cross that door. And what he finds inside may be the reason why the Vatican has kept secrets for centuries. The secret ritual of the popes. Every pope, in his first year of pontificate, is taken to Room X for an initiation ritual. What happens there? None of them speak, but ancient records mention a blood oath and the vision of truth. In 1605, Pope Paul V wrote in his diary, "Today I saw the face of God, and it was not as in the books." The following text was torn, the book that no one can read. They say that a book bound in human skin rests on the altar, the Liber Ivonis. Medieval monks claimed that its pages change text on their own, showing prophecies in dead languages. In 1922, a priest named Lorenzo Petrus dared to read a line and was found days later, with his eyes gouged out, murmuring, "They are coming through the mirrors, the object that is not of this world." In 1933, Pius XI ordered the construction of a special vault inside Room X. What does it hold? Accounts from a former Swiss guard speak of a metallic object that emits a buzzing sound and floats in the air when no one is looking. Some theorists believe it to be an extraterrestrial artifact, or worse, something much older than humanity itself. The price of secrecy. Not all popes came out unscathed. John Paul I, who reigned for only 33 days in 1978, planned to reform the secret archives. He was found dead in his bed, with an expression of terror and a note that read, "Room X must not be opened. The cause of death, heart attack," but no autopsy was allowed. This leads us to the most frightening question of all. If even the popes die of fear of what is in Room X, what would happen if it were open to the public? Or worse, if something from inside decided to come out? The dead who guard the archives. Some say the Vatican Secret Archives are protected by angels, but the employees who work there know the truth. They are guarded by something much older and much hungrier. The curse of the translators. In 1983, Alfredo Bellini was working on restoring a 4th century Ethiopian manuscript when he came across a section titled "The Liturgy of the Bones." Witnesses say he began screaming in an unknown language. 2 days later, he was found dead in his cell, with the pages he had translated shoved down his throat. The official report called it suicide. But how does someone swallow 10 pages of parchment by choice? The man who disappeared inside the archives. In 1991, Father Lorenzo Verdi announced he would expose the Church's greatest secrets. The night before his press conference, he entered the archives to gather evidence and was never seen again. Swiss guards swore they heard laughter coming from the empty shelves. Then, 7 years later, something inexplicable. His personal diary reappeared on a desk with a single new entry. "They caught me. I'm trapped in Section 7. Problem? There is no Section 7 on the official maps." The whispering shelves. Employees report impossible things. Voices whispering their names in empty hallways, books that move on their own, and worst of all, the sound of crying from behind the shelves. In 2015, an archivist named Marco Bianchi recorded something disturbing. They're not ghosts. They're the ones who came before. The ones who read too much. They're still here, but not as men. The next morning, he was found hanged with a rope made of torn pages. The bishop's last request. In 1977, Bishop Eduard Schoneberg requested to be buried with a specific manuscript. When his coffin was opened years later, the book was intact, but his body had vanished. On the crypt walls, someone or something had written in charcoal, "He is completing the work." All this leads to the most disturbing question. If even the dead can't rest in peace inside the Vatican archives, what exactly are they protecting? And more importantly, from whom? The final plan. Why this will never come to light. The Vatican isn't hiding these secrets just to protect the past, they're protecting the future. And what's coming is so terrifying that even world governments have made deals to keep it silent. The Global Pact. In 1952, the Vatican met in secret with the US, the Soviet Union, and other world powers. The subject? A single manuscript, Liber Novus Finis, the Book of the End. Its prophecies were so precise, they included exact dates for wars, pandemics, and something called the Great Unveiling. Since then, an unspoken agreement has stood. No one questions the archives. In return, the Church guides world leaders on what's coming. The prophecy no one can read. Rumors say there's a text in the X-chamber that only 3 popes have read. Its name? The Prophecy of the Three Sons. According to a monk who gouged out his own eyes after seeing it, it describes a false sun, satellites controlling humanity, a black sun, permanent eclipse, and a sun that is not a sun, beyond comprehension. The last pope who tried to warn the world died within 24 hours. The covenant with the enemy. In 2016, hackers leaked Vatican emails mentioning the covenant. One passage read, "We prepare the masses to accept the visitors." Visitors? In 2020, a former FBI agent claimed the Church possesses an object in the archives that responds to signals from space, and that something answers back. The final event. The most dangerous manuscript doesn't speak of the end of the world, but of a change. One phrase repeats, "And the sons of God shall descend to judge their brothers." But what if they're not angels? What if the Vatican knows exactly what's coming and is preparing the world to worship them? Now you understand. This will never come to light because no one would allow it. But there's one question even the Vatican may not know the answer to. When the final event arrives, whose side will they be on? Now leave your thoughts in the comments, because if these theories exist, some truth must be hidden from the world. What else could lie within those 85 kilometers of shelves, filled with ancient books, manuscripts, and secret records? Subscribe to our channel, because soon we'll uncover more documents hidden by the Vatican and expose even darker conspiracies buried in Rome.